Welcome to the Nerds Domain presents Masks of Neraltep. Join us each week as our investigators follow a path of clues and attempt to save the world from an ancient evil. Starring John Quiett, Justin Kimmett, Shirley Nedswicki, George Chipples, Jason Hall, and Scott Troiano, with me, Matt Quiett, running the table as the Keeper. Eldritch evils and crazed cultists await you just beyond this music.
Hey everybody, welcome to our creation podcast with Scott. I'm sitting here today with Scott, and we're going to go through his character creation for this game. Say hi, Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Scott's got a good character concept. It's where I like to start with Cthulhu. Cthulhu's a role-playing intensive game, and that's the focus, so we try and start with a concept that we can role-play with, and then build the character off of that. So, Scott, tell us a little bit, briefly, about your character.
My character is primarily built on a big game hunter, African safari type. I fleshed that out to be that he is English. He is technically from a family that is aristocracy, but he himself is not actually royalty. He's not in the line. His older brother, he's the second son. So if when titles pass from one person to the next, it will be his older brother that will end up receiving the title. So everybody asks if he's royalty, and he says no, he's not. However, his family is moneyed. That whole Earl of Sandwich kind of thing. So he has money, has always had money, served in the war on England's side, had a career there, and then has basically used family money and whatnot to travel and go on safari and conquer the greatest trophies that there are to be had on the planet.
Okay. And what's your character's name?
Reginald Winthrop Wilkerson. And I would say he's not the second or the third, but he is the son of Winthrop Wilkerson the second.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go through character creation. It's just some basic, simple stuff. So we're going to go a little out of order, just because it works a little better than what they've got in the book. But the first step is to determine characteristics. So you'll see at the top there, on the top right, there's some basic strength, con, that kind of stuff. Instead of rolling them and writing them right in, you'll roll 5 of them first, and then you're going to assign them. Okay. So it'll be 3d6 5 times, and I would suggest rolling them on the table instead of on that.
Okay.
The mic pickup.
Okay.
So 9.
I take it we want higher is better.
Higher is better, yes. That's better. 11. 6.
Well then.
And there's a decent one.
There we go.
So 15. So we're going to take those 5 and assign them to strength, constitution, power, dexterity, and appearance.
Okay, what is power?
Power is your force of will. It's if you had to see something horrible, it's your your mind's ability to handle that and not freak the crap out.
Okay.
It also you derive a secondary characteristic off of it. Sorry. You derive luck off of power, as well as sanity off of power, so those are kind of important.
Okay.
It should be noted that your basic stats are not super important. You're going to go mostly off of percentage for skills, so if you have an 85% in shotguns, doesn't matter how dexterous you are, you still shoot things at an 85%. There may be cases where your dex will be a bonus to that, but usually after there's a negative. So, like, you're in the back of a bouncing car and you're trying to shoot. Your dex is gonna play in there, but so is the fact that the car's bouncing. So I would give you a negative to that 85, probably a 20, and then I would say, go ahead and add your dex back in. So the negative is kind of negated some.
Okay. So do I just put these in the way I want them?
Put them in the way you want them. Don't write them too dark, because we may switch them around later according to how you would like to see it.
Okay. Then I'm going to put power is 15, dex is 11, strength is 9, constitution is 8, and then you said appearance?
Yes.
Appearance is 6.
Okay. Now, next we're going to roll 2d6 plus 6 twice. Once for strength and once for intelligence. Again, you can...
Wait, you said strength?
I'm sorry, size and intelligence. I apologize. You've done it all correctly. Size and intelligence.
2d6 plus 6?
Yes.
Okay. That's a 10.
That's an 11.
That's an 11.
You're going to be an average character.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I love being average.
Okay, so assign that 10 and 11. Size is exactly what it sounds like. Intelligence will give you your idea roll, and then it also has to do with skills later.
Okay, intelligence 11, size of 10.
Okay, and then finally for what you roll with D6s, you want to roll 3d6 and add 3. This is for your education level. Again, higher is better.
3d6 plus 6?
Plus 3.
Oh, plus 3.
So there's a, 15?
15.
15. It's not a bad number.
Idea?
That is your education.
Or education. All right.
Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is it suggests a bunch of stuff. The first thing we're going to do is look at your occupation. Because you don't have classes, you don't have a race, everybody's human. That's just the way it works.
Okay.
You don't have a class, you have an occupation that dictates what skills you can spend your education points on. Mm-hmm. But otherwise it doesn't.
Okay.
That's it. So we're using the 1920s book for occupations because it gives a secondary bonus beyond just the skills.
Okay.
So let's get to those. They're split up by type, so that's adventurers and daredevils, and it goes through each one. It's just that's the page, so you don't have to move it around.
Oh, okay.
So you'll see that is aviator, and then that will tell you if you flip to the next page. I'll go 2 more. Sorry. Okay. So big game hunter might work for you.
Obviously.
There's an earnings thing. We're just going to skip that. There's contacts and connections. We don't need to worry about that because we've already worked you in. And then it also has skills. Those are your education or your occupation skills, and then a special at the bottom, and that's an extra thing you get.
Okay.
So this would give you bargaining, firearms, first aid, hide, jump, knife, listen, natural history, navigate, other language, sneak, and track.
There you go.
So if that's what you like, that's great. If that's not what you like or you want to look through, there's other stuff in there, but that one kind of does fit your concept.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Okay. So there are boxes next to all the skills. Do not mark those. Those are for advancement. But you might mark those skills with a little dot so you know which ones you're working with. And what is the special there?
Big game hunters stay cool when charged by large animals, even monsters. Calculate sanity losses as usual, but the investigator does not suffer any adverse effects until the incident is resolved.
Well, that's kind of nice. So
that's very nice.
If in an encounter you lose enough sanity, you will go temporarily insane. Mm-hmm. And you'll lose your shit, and that'll be the end of that. You won't lose your shit until after everything's done. So you'll keep your calm during that encounter, and then afterwards you might take a giant dump on the floor. Until that point, you're good. Right. Firearms is kind of down to the right, kind of under your hand.
Okay.
Because there's a bunch
it breaks
of
out.
Yeah.
Okay. Did they hide knife somewhere?
It'll be under your other combat skills down here, and you'll just write knife because it's not a specific skill that they use as standard.
Okay. Got him.
All right. So and then on the second page of your character sheet, you might want to write down your special in the area right there under your hand on the right. Yep. So just so you have it tracked somewhere and you know what's going on.
Where am I going here again?
Bottom right, under the history, because your investigator history is going to take up way more than that, so you might as well write it there.
My special?
Yeah. That way you know what it is, and you can track it.
Okay, I got my skills noted. I've got my special written down. Do I need to mark down any contacts and things?
Nope. The contacts you've already got, and they won't apply. It's more of that one's for more of a free-form handwritten campaign. This is going to be manufactured. On the top left of that first page that's in your hand, under occupation, you might want to write down big game hunter. That'll note that. The next step is we're going to use the optional rule here to rearrange your points if you'd like to. You'll notice that your stats may not exactly be what you want. So you can take up to 3 points from any one of them and move it to another one. And you can do that action 3 times. So your dex is a 15. If you wanted to lower it a little bit and maybe raise your strength or con or education or any of that up a little, that's fine. 10 is about average, so anything below 10 is a little under. I believe your strength is 6 and your con is a 9. Is that correct?
Strength is 9, con is 8.
Okay.
My appearance is 6.
So your appearance is kind of low. Appearance is really first time impression, so keep that in mind.
How often is appearance used? Is it like a charisma?
It could be a bonus to bargaining and persuade, or if if there's you meet somebody for the first time, I may look at your appearance and decide to give you a bonus or a negative because of it. So if you had a really high appearance, if you had an 18 appearance, you'd naturally be able to fast talk people quicker. Whereas if you have a very low appearance like you do now, it's going to be a little bit tougher. So if fast talking and persuade and that kind of stuff is important to you, you might consider upping it. If it's not a big deal.
What is education?
It's literally what you have been taught in school.
Okay.
I will tell you that your occupation skills will get the percentage of those will get decided by your education. You'll take your education here in a little bit, multiply it by 20, then you'll get a certain number, and you put that into your skills.
Okay.
You divide that out between them. So.
Okay, so I don't want to gut that.
Yeah, you don't really want to gut that, and if you do lower it, you don't want to lower it much.
I got some sucky rolls here.
Yeah. And you're mostly average other than that 6 in appearance.
That's
even
good.
8 is a pretty decently average.
Decently average.
It's a little on the low side, but an 8 in Constitution is not that
I
bad.
should have warmed these dice up, damn it.
Yep.
Alright, then...
And you don't have to move anything. This is just an option to kind of give you a chance to round out the character.
Yeah, I'm going to drop my dex 1 and up my appearance 1.
Okay.
And then drop my intelligence 1 and up my appearance 1. I get 7 and 8. Okay.
All right. You happy with those numbers?
No, but it's the best I rolled, so...
You're as happy as you're going to
I
get?
kind of have to be.
Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take your power and multiply it by 5. What's your power?
15.
So... Oh, yeah. That's a good... Yeah, go ahead, because I don't know. 75, I'm pretty sure. So
75.
75. So you're going to want to write that in the very top under sanity. It's in the middle row, I believe. Middle-ish, yeah. Also, go ahead and under your sanity box on the left, you see there, circle the number 75. Okay. That is your beginning sanity, and so far, you're the third person we've created. You have the highest sanity.
Of course I do.
Yes.
I'm extremely sane. Ask me, I'll tell you.
So, the next thing that you will do is you're going to determine some characteristics. Intelligence, you want to multiply that by 5, and that number is your idea. So intelligence right next to it is idea.
50.
Power times 5 is your luck, so 75 there.
75.
And education times 5 is your knowledge. So if it's
75.
And knowledge is if it's something you don't have the skill for or doesn't fit in necessarily a skill. But if you're like, does London have a red light district? Roll your knowledge. It's just that simple.
Well, yeah, it does.
Well, right, but your character may not know where it's at and how to get there, and so you would roll just your basic knowledge.
Okay.
That's it.
Start at Leicester Square, and then... go ahead.
So next, you're going to add your strength and your size together.
Strength and my size. Okay.
What's that?
19.
Okay, so that would determine if you have a damage bonus or not on melee attacks. 17 through 24, no bonus, so that's a 0.
Right.
So under damage bonus up there, it's a +0.
Right. But I'm hopefully going to be shooting things instead of hitting them, so...
That's a good point.
Yay for me.
And...
What is 99 Cthulhu Mythos?
Well, we're about to hit that. That's actually the next point.
Okay.
If you gain Cthulhu Mythos information, you will gain points just like any other skill. Okay. However, for every point you have in Cthulhu Mythos, you subtract that from 99, and that new number is your brand new maximum sanity you can ever possibly have.
So if you become an expert at this,
you are insane.
You will go nutballs. Okay.
And even if you become an expert, becoming an expert is a sanity check. Because every time you read a book that tells you something, you lose a little bit of sanity.
That's what they meant when they said never read books that open portals to hell.
And even after you've read about the deep ones and you know all about them, that first time you see one, it will still mess with you and you will still take a sanity check.
Great.
So no matter what, learning Cthulhu Mythos is good and wrong at the same time.
Excellent. Well, I'll go with the wrong part. I'm not going with the good part. I don't need to know. I just need to throw much hot lead at it and we'll be good.
So the next step is hit points. You're going to add your constitution and your size together. Give me that number.
18.
Divide that in half.
Yeah.
Welcome to 9 hit points. Now, you'll notice on your character sheet, dead, -1, or -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2 are all bold, right?
Yes.
That means that you're unconscious at any of those points.
Oh, that's not good.
So, really, you have like 6 hit points to play with before it's really bad. We rolled up a character yesterday. Her shotgun does a D10 +7. So if you're lucky, you're not dead from that shot.
Yeah.
So, keep that in mind.
Okay, then.
So, shoot it first, right?
Absolutely. Smoke that skin wagon, and we'll just blow people. You be the first person to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Because the second person to pull the trigger is going to be dead.
In the magic points box, you're going to circle the number that equals your power. Just like learning through the mythos, casting any kind of magic can be very damaging to your sanity.
Okay, 15.
Okay. And then finally we circled the sanity, which we already did. So you should have everything circled in those 3 boxes.
3 boxes,
okay.
Yep.
The next step.
I'm really unhappy with having 9 hit points. Okay, moving on.
You're about... I don't think anybody else has any more than you. They have either the same number or 1 less.
Yes, but the box goes up to 43.
Yeah, yes.
I've gamed before. 9 compared to 43, that's bad.
Well, okay, let's put it to you this way. If you had size 18 and constitution 18, not only would you be 7 foot tall and wide as a door frame, you'd only have 18 hit points.
Oh. All right, well, that's not bad.
So you know...
And that shotgun would still probably put me down.
That shotgun wouldn't necessarily kill you, but the guy with the club would.
Right.
So, the next thing we're going to do is roll that d10. This will determine your incoming cash flow. This is just the way they do it. So, I'm looking at the right chart now. Go ahead. Yeah, warm that up. Let's see if you have actual money. You're just kind of ugly.
Well, yeah, that's how, those 80-year-olds get those hotties. Yeah. It's because they've got all the money.
Hey, 6 is not horrible.
Yeah, great.
6 gives you $5,500. Yeah, see, it's about average. $5,500 a year. $5,500 in the 1920s is still a substantial amount of money. So go ahead and on the second sheet, there's a spot there for income. So income on the left first.
Got it.
Yeah.
5,500?
5,500. You will have 5 times that in actual property that you already own prior to that. So 5 times 5,500 is 145. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong.
That's okay.
Really good at math today.
That's all right.
Or 2750 or 27,500. Wow.
104,000. I'm taking the first one. You said it. It was on. They've got it. Have that recorded.
So 27,500.
104,000. I'm taking that.
27,500. I don't know where I got that.
Where do I put that?
That would be personal property. Just write it down there, and then you can figure out what that means later. You know, you have a car or a house or both. Cars in this day and age, even really nice ones from like Rolls Royce, are only a couple of $1,000s.
Oh, okay.
So
Right.
that 27,000 probably gets you a nice house or decent house, and this is your own personal property, not necessarily your family's. And you don't necessarily mooch, but you're used to using your family's things because that's what you do.
Well, yeah,
that's what society does.
Well, exactly.
So the next thing we're going to do,
I'm not just going to use my family's money. I'm going to use everybody else's family's money too.
Exactly. The next thing we're going to do is take your education.
Yep.
Multiply it by 20. This is where you'll probably need a scratch piece of paper.
Woohoo! All right.
So, what's your... Oh, is it 15? Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Okay, so you're going to take those 300 points and put them across your education skills, or your occupation skills. Okay. So anything you marked earlier.
Okay.
That would make sense.
Now, the number in parentheses, is that my base?
That's your base. It changes for everything. Your base in knife is 15, just so you know, since it wasn't on there. Keep in mind a couple of things. First, having 2 skills at 35 is not anywhere near as good as having 1 skill at 70.
Okay.
So if you have that option and you're sitting there going, well, I could put these 2 skills at 35, or I could put this one at 70, 70 is going to be good. 50 is essentially the base requirement for a trained occupation of any kind. So if you're a doctor, you really ought to have at least a 50 in medical or medicine. If you're a big game hunter, you should be able to shoot things and track things. That's what you do.
Right.
Anything else beyond that is better. 75 is pretty expert in your field. Anything above that is really, really specialized. And
wait, say that again?
Anything above 75 is really specialized.
Okay.
And when you hit 90, this is important because this is one of the few ways you get sanity back. When you hit a 90 in a skill through play, you will actually get sanity back. You'll roll a dice and add that back to your sanity because you will have lost some by then. It's guaranteed.
Okay.
So, So keep that in mind, that you want to edge above 50 in anything you should be good at.
Okay.
You probably want to be closer to 60 or 70. But you don't want to be all the way at 90 because you're not going to benefit from it when you do eventually get above that. The way you advance is anything that you use successfully in an adventure. And when we break chapters, that's when I'll call that an adventure. Whatever you've used successfully, you'll roll a percentage against. So if you have a 75% in shotguns and you successfully shot somebody, at the end of that adventure, you would roll against your shotguns. If you get above the base number, that 75, you would increase by a d10. So if you have 88 and you roll an 89, you would increase, hopefully getting 2 at least, and then your sanity would go up as well because you went to 90 or above.
Okay, but why did you say I don't want to go too much above 75 because you won't get the benefit?
Well, you don't want to go all the way to 90 because you won't get that benefit. If you go to 90, if you have 90 points in something, even if you up that, it won't matter. You're already above the point where you get the sanity back.
So that's because I was just toying with the idea of I don't want anything above an 89. But...
So if you put everything at 89 as best you can by dividing the points, that's fine. You're going to have 3.5 skills that are really good. The rest of it's going to be not so great.
Right.
So.
Well, and I'd rather be. I'm one of those unfortunates that, while I love min-maxing, I kind of preferred rounded characters.
Yeah. Well, and your gun should be high.
Right.
Your track should be high. Everything else is kind of...
Yeah. Which I'm kind of bummed that it only gives me a tracking of 10% as a base. That sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. What access to weaponry will I have?
Yes.
And what damage do they do?
Anything that's appropriate for the 1920s. So we're starting in 1925. I'm going to say anything manufactured 1924 or prior.
Okay, so that would allow me access, I do believe, to a Tommy gun, which is a .45 caliber machine gun.
That is true. However, would you go hunting with a Tommy gun?
I have in the past.
Would a big game hunter go hunting with a Tommy gun?
I think he might, because he might want to see a rhinoceros go up and smoke. That just sounds cool as hell.
I don't have necessarily a problem, but I want it to make sense to your character. Would this character, especially with the benefit you have, where that rhino turns and looks at you and starts charging, and you're just fine with it because you've got your 30-06 and you could put a couple in it before it gets to you, you'll be all right.
Then probably not.
So, if it makes sense for your character to have a Tommy gun, or to have access to a Tommy gun should things go poorly, then sure, I don't have a problem with that. But at this point, any of weapon you can get in 1924 isn't going to be that great. Even a Tommy gun, not that special.
Right.
So, I mean, it just shoots a lot of bullets all at once.
Right.
That's all it does. It's intimidating. That's important, but otherwise it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So, you have your skills, you have some points to put into them. You will get more points to put into more skills. Next, we're going to take your intelligence and multiply it by 10 and put that in anything you want to round out your personal interest, not just your occupational. So keep that in mind as you're looking at
now,
what
can I
you
also, things that have added this 300 to, can I then augment with that as well? Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, then I feel like I've gotten far less squeak then.
If you don't spend all of your points, they are lost at the end of creation.
Really?
Yes.
Well, then why the hell wouldn't you?
Just making sure that we're all on the same page.
Okay.
That is it.
I was saving up those 10 points for no! All right.
Yeah.
Then... 230. I'm putting 70 into bargain.
What's your bargain start at? 5. So that puts you at 75 in bargain. Right? Okay.
Correct.
You want to make sure.
What does listen do?
Lets you listen. So if you come up to a door... And
as opposed to... That's why they didn't call it shouting.
What's on the other side of that door? You're listening.
Well, now, but is it general... okay, I'm going to put my ear to the wall and hear what's on the other side, or is it, I'm going to put my ear on this safe and try to crack the safe, which is lockpicking, I understand,
both.
But...
It would apply to both.
So it's whatever I can listen to?
Yes, it will also apply when I go, why don't you guys all give me a listen roll? Because I will do that. When there's something that would make noise that you might hear, or you might not hear, you'll roll listen.
Now, is it something where I could go, all right, well, I'm going to poke my ear close to around the corner and I'm going to listen how many people are walking in the next room kind of thing?
It's not going to necessarily give you an exact number. There are 7 people, 3 of them are above 6 foot, and no. But it will give you an idea. There's a small crowd, probably 7 or 8 people. That's the kind of information you're going to get from listen in that situation. Or someone's being murdered, you can hear the blood splattering everywhere.
Nice.
Not that this is a horror game.
Right. I'm going to put another 70 into hide.
Okay.
For a total of 80.
Okay.
Just because that sounds smart.
I'm not disagreeing. Hiding is that 80 is going to get you hidden 9 times out of 10. 8 times out of 10. Let's just say.
I was like, is there some funky math here again?
Yeah. But it'll hide you a lot, and in most situations, if you know what's going on, and it'll be opposed by their.
Now you have to roll under. Okay, so if we got a percentage of 80, I got to roll under that.
You got to roll that number or under.
Or under. Okay.
So if you roll an 80, you squeaked by.
Okay.
So
81, I'm going to get burned.
Yeah.
I put 50 into shotgun.
Which puts it at 75, right?
Puts it at an 80.
Okay. So that leaves you with
110.
Okay.
70, 70, 50. Navigate.
Mm-hmm. That applies mostly to boats and planes, but you could use it in the wilderness if you look up at the stars or the sun and figure out where you're at and so on and so forth. You might consider some natural history, since you probably research a little bit about your the animals you're tracking and killing.
Okay.
And other language, I would really suggest your society in England and in this time, speaking another language is nearly required.
Okay.
So, and it can be anything, especially since your whole character concept is to go on safaris. You could speak anything the world over. I'm willing to accept it, but you just have to decide what it is.
Now, does that operate heavy mech?
Machinery.
Okay, I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, so one of the weird things about Cthulhu is the mechs you get to play.
Yeah, I was like, wait, do we get mechs, or do they get mechs? Oh, no, this is going to be incredibly hard. I want my machine gun back. Okay. Now my language percent, my other language as a percent, is that broken down between the languages that I know, or is that my base?
You'll notice that there's a line to write down whatever language it is. You will put each thing on there. So if everything starts at 1, so if you put German and you put 40 points into it, you'll have 41. And you take Chinese or Mandarin. Chinese is not a language. Mandarin. It would also start at 1, and you put 20 points, and that's 21. So it's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff.
And I'd obviously take Cantonese instead of Mandarin.
Well, there you go.
I'm running out of points.
Yep, that's how it works.
No.
Remember, you do have another, 100 points coming? So that could go anywhere, so that kind of even makes it worse.
Oh, that's not bad. Oh, no, it does make it worse. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because you only get 100 points at that point.
Okay, there's a skill in here, credit rating. Okay, I don't want to know. I gotta stay on target.
You'll want credit rating eventually.
Okay.
I'll warn you now.
Okay.
Credit rating is not just your money and the money you can pull. It is your personal reputation.
Nice. Okay. So now I have a base of all of these?
Yes.
Or just something that I have any points at
absolutely.
all?
No. Like, so mechanical repair is 20% on there. If you attempt to mechanically repair something and you have no skill points put into it, you still have a 20%.
Okay.
Because, frankly, most everybody in the 1920s knows a tiny bit about tightening a bolt here or putting a belt on there.
Whack it with a wrench.
Yeah,
right?
whack it with a wrench.
Okay.
That's why some things like anthropology and archaeology, you have a 1% chance. Because unless you're trained, you probably don't know crap.
Right. Okay. I'm going to split my remaining points between sneak and track for 50 in each.
Okay. Alright, so like I said, the next step is to take your intelligence and multiply it by 10.
Okay. That's an extra 100 points that I can put in anything.
You can put it in anything. I would suggest some points in credit rating, honestly. You have money, you should be known, your name is known. It makes sense. I can't think of anything else that is exceptionally important, but that one's kind of big.
Well, and that's where I make up for my appearance. I'm going to put 50 points into credit rating.
Okay. So put you at 65.
For 65. 50 points left over. Put 10 in French.
Okay.
40.
And there will be times when you come across something specifically like French, where I probably give you bonuses to notice like that it is in fact French, but you may not be able to read it at your normal level.
Right.
So
Dodge Dex times 2.
So whatever your dexterity is,
Oh, so everybody gets
times
done.
2 is your base dodge. You'll be able to up that if you would like. Same thing with your own language. It's your education times 2 or 5. Is that right? Yeah, own language is education times 5. So yours is going to be a 75. That's you speak your own language well.
Okay.
So if somebody were speaking in a thick dialect and it's still English, some people may not be able to pick it up, but you have a pretty good chance. You have 75% chance of picking up what they're saying.
And I'm going to put 40 points into Persuade. I'm out of points again. I don't like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your knife is a base of 25, not 10.
Oh. Well, you said 15.
No, did I? That's still 25.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all that. The next step is picking your guns. So would you like to have a handgun? You didn't put any points in handguns or rifles or anything like that, but you put it in shotgun. Do you want to have them?
I would like a handgun.
Okay.
And I would definitely like a shotgun.
Okay, then let's look at handguns. So here in this book, on my iPad, is a whole list. Now you'll notice there's several columns there. The name, the year is what you need to look at first. If it's 1925 or older, you cannot have it. It's just the way it is. 1924 or older, or 1925 or newer, you can't have it. 1924 or older, you can.
Okay.
Most anything, you can have anything in there that it has listed.
The HP is the HP of the gun?
Yes. If I hit your hand or I strike your gun, that's how many hit points your gun will have. You'll notice most guns have more hit points than you.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
They're built out of steel, though.
Yeah, well, there is that. Cap is capacity?
Yes, sir.
Number of bullets?
Yep. And there's a separate loading depending on the type of load. So
Right.
side load,
Swing load?
yeah, swing load, they all have different loading speeds.
Okay.
Do you have any questions on the rest of that?
No.
That's your whole list of handguns. There's a whole nother list of shotguns.
Right.
And then, of course, caliber, you know about caliber, right?
Correct.
Okay. So a higher number, for
Now-
the listeners, a higher number in caliber on a handgun is better. Lower number in gauge on a shotgun is better.
Now, a pair with a holster?
I'm sorry. Yes, you can pair it with a holster. That's fine.
Okay. And the, whatchamacallit, what do these do damage-wise? Is that based on caliber?
That will be based completely on caliber.
Okay.
We can look at that before you choose a gun if you want, but bigger the caliber, more damage it does.
Right.
I mean, that's just that simple.
Well, then, I think the Webley Automatic M1913.
Okay.
A pair of those would be fantastical.
So let's write that information down on a separate sheet, just so we can transfer the rest of it on later. You said the
Webley.
The Webley. Okay.
Webley Automatic M1913.
Oh, very bottom one.
Yes. It's a UK handgun.
Yeah.
Well constructed.
Which is ironic because it's a 1913 model, but it was first put out in 1912.
Right. Well, they name it on the release year.
So that uses 4.55 Webley Auto rounds. I will warn you, those rounds are going to be a little harder. It's not like you're going to shoot a guy and he's going to happen to have some Webley Auto rounds on him.
No, not
Whereas
at all.
it's just a general 45 round. Most of those will work in a 45 round chamber. So
I
this one-
anticipated that I would bring my own.
Oh, right. However, in Cthulhu,
Yes.
what you have on you is what you have on you. So if you have 4 cases in your luggage and your luggage gets stolen, guess what? You're out.
4 cases of ammo.
Or let's say you have 4 cases in your luggage and you got to leave now. And I mean now. Guess what you have on you? That's it. That's all you get. So while I'm just saying, while that's great that you will bring your own, be careful. Because Webley Auto is going to be a harder bullet to find.
Harder caliber to find.
Yeah.
Certainly. Well, then I'm glad that my guns have higher hit points so that when I throw my empty guns at my enemies...
And you have 2, so you can always throw it.
Precisely.
So it's semi-automatic, and it has a magazine, 7, and then 10 hit points. We're not going to worry about it being the most expensive gun in here. Oh, almost.
Of course it is.
So let's look at the damage it does. So we go all the way back here to caliber. I'm not sure why they did this, but that's what they did. So you're looking at large caliber, so it's a D10 plus 2. For the record, most everything in high caliber does a D10 plus 2, except for the 357 Magnum that does a D8 plus a D4.
Okay.
Sure. So it is also base range of 15 yards.
Okay.
And on this one, it is an automatic. No. Yeah,
auto.
Semi-automatic.
Oh, you're right, semi-automatic magazine.
Your failure, your malfunction is 99. So if you roll a 99 or 100, you'll fail. You'll have a malfunction with the gun. That's the clean malfunction, by the way. You get it dirty, and I'm going to keep track of that. If your guns are dirty or not, I'll give you the new number. It'll decrease. With this one specifically, if you don't neglect it, which you will always take care of it, it'll become a 97. If you drop it in the mud or swim through some mud and try and fire it after that, you'll notice that your dirty malfunction becomes a 75.
Ow.
Yeah. So if you have like an 80 in guns and you roll a 77 and it's dirty, doesn't matter how great you are at shooting people, it's still malfunctioned.
Okay.
So keep that in mind.
Okay.
So let's go to shotguns, because that's next. There's the shotguns. The shotgun list is quite a bit smaller, but there's some standards in there.
So I can't get a Kel-Tec with 7 in each tube for a 15 total capacity? That's a bummer.
And I think you'll notice...
And they're all USA shotguns?
All the shotguns are...
Seriously?
Shotguns for the time period are not typically a European weapon.
True.
Shotguns are almost pioneered by the cowboy, and they're seen as cowboy weapons. But they're also good for hunting, and most everyone knows that.
Is there any difference between a 10 gauge and a 12 gauge as far as damage goes?
Yes, there is.
I thought there might be.
10 gauge will do more. It also depends on the kind of shot, because you have buckshot, and then you have your straight slug. Yeah. Slug is going to get a much better range. Buckshot will do a ton more damage. A buckshot for a 12 gauge does 46. For a 10 gauge, I think it does 46 plus 2. Something ridiculous. So 4d6 is a lot of damage, potentially destroying the other person to death. However, they've got to be within 10 yards of you for that damage.
Right.
Anything more than that, and they're cut in half on. You're cut in half on damage, at least.
Yeah, but still 2d6.
2d6
rolled halfway decently.
Well, and at 30 yards, it's still a d8.
Nice.
I mean, you're still hitting them hard, but slugs are like a d10 plus 7 at 30 yards. So you might as well put the slugs in if you know you want to shoot at range.
Which I would do anyhow.
Yeah. I would suggest lever action. They have a quicker speed on the fire.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to go with the
what's
Winchester.
What's your
lever
shotgun
action
at?
Anyhow.
75?
80.
Okay. So your shotgun is in an 80, so you will get special rules. If you're above a 75, you will actually get a faster fire rate. For lever, it's 3 shots every 2 rounds. So you'll do 2 and 1, 2 and 1, and then probably have to reload.
Right.
But you'll get 2 shots every other round. That's kind of important.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
So I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that's the only one that gets that. Some of them will get just straight 2, but the level, or some guns get just straight 2 shots per round.
Right.
You have that, but we can look that up if you wanted to reference that, just in case you want a different gun. I think it's over 2 or 3 pages.
Yeah, check that for me.
Sure. So it looks like pump action for a large gauge. For a small gauge is going to get you 3 shots every round. Oh, we may need to fix that on another character. Pump action automatically gets you 2 shots. So I guess pump action is better. Yeah, pump action looks like it's better. Pump action for a small gauge, which is what you want. Your 10 gauge is a small gauge.
Correct.
It'll be 2 shots every round. With your 70, with your 80, it'll be 3 shots per round. Now the downside is, on most of these, you're gonna empty it 2 rounds in.
Right. Well, but if
I've gone unfortunate.
Dead. Okay, I can reload. I should be able to reload relatively well.
I would like to make 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
Cthulhu monsters don't go down easy.
Okay.
There are some of them that take half damage from all firearms. Period. Number 2, Cthulhu monsters. You see that 43 in hit points that you were talking about earlier? Mm-hmm. Guess who has that?
Got it.
So, while you're right, 5-6 shots in, it's not going to matter. It might. It might, especially if you roll 3 misses on some fluke. I mean, after you roll those stats you did tonight, that's possible.
All right, well, then I want to do the Winchester M1911 self-loading shotgun.
Okay. What caliber? Or what gauge?
12 gauge.
12 gauge? Okay, so let's look at that. It is Winchester self-loading. So you're on a side and a semi. Okay. 12 gauge does damage-wise a D10 plus 6 for slug, and that's at a base of 30 yards. And then the buckshot does 4d6 at 10 yards, 2d6 at...
Hold on.
Sorry.
Give me that number again.
4d6 at 10 yards, 2d6 at 20 yards, and 1d6 at 30. So
I'm thinking slugs.
Well, you never know. You might want to carry buckshot just in case.
In case what? I don't want to kill it dead?
If you know you're going to go into a tight room, slugs aren't going to be any good for you. You're going to want to spray. So you carrying it outside of combat, changing out some rounds is not going to slow you down.
Right.
So, sorry, this was semi-automatic and it loaded side load. Is that right? Yep, side. So side load. There it is. 2 cartridges per round.
Okay.
That's your speed. And the other gun, your pistol is also a side load, so it's 2 round. No, that's not right. That's a rifle. Wrong thing. It's a magazine, which means you should be able to reload everything. 1 round. Just clip, pop. You can't fire that round.
Right.
But it's out and you're good.
Right.
So, I think that covers everything as far as weapons go. Oh, no, this is semi-automatic, so it has the same malfunction rate as your pistol.
Okay.
Right, that was semi?
Yes. Self-loading.
Yeah, yep, semi. Okay. So let's transfer that onto your character sheet. So under your weapons, it'll have the information you need. You'll want to keep that scrap piece of paper because it has a lot more information than what goes on there.
Okay. So you'll notice that there's a bunch of blanks under firearms. Right. You'll put the name of it, the percentage of the damage, the malfunction, the range, the number of attacks, shots, and hit points.
Okay.
Just transfer that information over.
And the capacity was 5, correct?
Yes.
As opposed to the Webley Auto, which is how many in the magazine?
6, I think. Let me go back.
I thought it was 7.
Is it 7? Capacity on your shotgun is 5.
Right.
Capacity on your pistol is 7. You're right.
Okay. Just checking. And the percentage is derived from my stats above, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. What's number attack?
On which one?
Number ATT.
That's the number of attacks per round. So on your shotgun, it's going to be 3 on your shotgun. Because you have that 80%.
And what's my handgun?
Fire, large caliber, 1. Wait. 1. Yeah. Because you don't have a very high percentage. So it's 1 shot per round with that.
Alrighty, got him.
Okay. So, the next thing we need to do is look at...
What's the damage on a knife?
That's what we're getting ready to look at.
Oh,
so,
okay.
you have 4 choices in knives. You have a commando knife, a hunting knife, a pocket knife, and a switchblade. Oh, you know what? You may have a 5th choice there at the top, too. Throwing knife.
And a trench knife.
Yeah, so those are your options. They just give the same basic information.
I know that a lot of them say impale, and I can explain that to you if you'd like.
Yes, please.
So, what's your percentage on your knife? Is 25?
25.
If you were to roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 on that percentage, you would get to impale, which means you'd roll damage twice.
Ooh, nice.
It means you hit something vital.
Oh, they all have plus impale. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, knives are for stabbing, usually.
What is 1d4 plus 2 plus DB?
Damage bonus. Your damage bonus is 0.
Okay.
Yeah. And you'll notice that D4 plus 2 doesn't seem like a lot until you realize you have 9 hit points, and getting stabbed could take a lot of those.
Yep.
Especially if whoever's doing the stabbing is big and strong, because they get a damage bonus.
I will take a trench knife.
Okay. So write that down. And get your information on there as needed.
What does hand mean?
How many hands it takes. Say 1. Yeah, it's a knife.
Touch. Number of attacks. 1. Points. Doesn't say how much hit points it has. NA.
Yeah.
No, it's not NA.
It may be under base stats under the knife. So let me see it real quick.
Okay. That's alright.
Okay. We're going to go back to the other book anyway. So, okay. Let's go back to our character. Next step is determining additional background. This is it. I mean, you're all but done.
Okay.
You want to look at marks and scars and mental disorders. You could have them.
Well, of course we could.
I will warn you that
Why
if you
wouldn't we?
lose certain amounts of sanity, you will eventually get them.
Oh, okay.
And then if you go above that sanity, they go inactive. So they're, as long as you're doing well mentally, you're not going to freak out.
Okay.
You're also going to make sure that you fill in the top with your character name. You did that, and all the information below that needs to be filled in eventually. It doesn't have to be right now. On the far left, if you turn the character sheet sideways, you'll notice it says player name, and you'll fill that in right now. And your character's age
Hang
is...
hang on.
Go ahead.
If I turn it what way? Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It's nice for filing.
T. Okay.
Yep. Everything else should be fine. What's your age?
Character age is 34, 36.
Okay. Let's see. Either one is fine. If you go above 40, it changes your stats.
Yeah, I've lost enough stats just by rolling.
So,
Birthplace, England. Do I need to get...
you can be more specific. I'm sure you'll be more specific in your background. It doesn't have to be right now.
Oh, definitely.
So, anything else on there?
Mental disorders?
Yeah. If you want one, you can have one. If you don't want to have one, don't worry about it.
Such as?
PTSD would make a lot of sense for someone in the Army.
Possibly. I was thinking like NPD.
NPD. What is that?
Narcissistic personality disorder.
Where would you ever... Are you sure you could roleplay that?
I'm reasonably sure I'd probably be the best person to roleplay that you've ever seen.
Maybe.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's put it this way. I'm better than anybody else you know. Oh, darn it! I don't know. What does a disorder get me?
Nothing.
Oh, well then.
Roleplay.
Well, I'm going to do that anyhow.
I know. So just roll that around your mind. You don't have to do it right now.
Okay.
The second sheet, there's some stuff you could fill out. Personal property being one of them. It doesn't have to be super detailed. And honestly, if you don't fill in personal property, we'll assume that you have the basics. However, there will come a point when I say, okay, you are leaving, fill in the blank. What are you packing in your suitcase? And I'm not looking for stuff like, well, the clothes. I'm looking for, I pack 16 sets of handguns to hand out, because there's some things that still customs won't let through much.
Oh, really?
Guns won't be so bad.
Right.
But, Tommy guns
Right.
might be a problem. And I wouldn't have said that had you bought a Tommy gun, because that just would have come out through roleplay.
Right. They'd be like, yeah, that's not getting through there. But it would likely be, can I make this assumption? And I don't know, I don't want to assume or make an assumption, because it makes an ass out of you an umption. That I can send a package ahead. As in, if I'm planning to do some Latin American hunting, that I can send all the guns and the ammo and all that to the States ahead of time.
That's an option. There's a couple other things you need to realize. Firearms are illegal in the UK.
I know they are.
Period.
Oh, of course they are.
So, you having them...
Which is why grouse hunting and whatnot and all of the royal hunts where they've all got guns makes you go, what?
Yeah, where everybody knows that, especially people in the country, they have guns. It's just known. But they're generally frowned upon, so sending them ahead would make sense. Also, picking them up when you're in the States makes a lot of sense.
Right.
I'm not
going to fly across the pond with the gun strapped to me.
No, and you have enough... Well, you wouldn't be flying across the pond either.
Right.
You'd be riding a boat.
Yep, sailing across the pond.
So, and you have people for that.
Right.
So... I'm not going to say you have a personal servant around, but you call a guy and he knows a guy and they've already got you guns in a crate waiting for you at the hotel when you get there. That's the kind of the guy you are.
Right.
So,
because if I'm going to go do anything less than above board and somewhat nefarious, I would like a bandolier. I'm the kind of guy that well, you've only got 2 magazines to clip. And the 58 rounds strapped to me with the 4 extra magazines fully loaded with, is this a bolo? What the hell?
Before we start the first game, I would like
do you have stats for bolos? I want 1 or 6.
Remember, you have to have a skill to throw those bolos. That falls under throw.
Do we have a throw? Oh, well, shit. I need to shift some points around there.
Bolos. I'm not sure where they would... I'm looking for where they would be under. Oh, unusual weapons. You have a 10% for bolo. It's its own skill.
It's its own skill?
Yeah. It does a D4 plus entangle. I'd have to look up entangle. Base range is strength times 2. Maximum range is strength times 6.
Okay.
So
my bolo is what?
Your bolo is 10%. And you actually might want to put that down under weapons instead of up there under regular skills. So... I
may have to... shift some stuff around then.
Yeah, as long as it's all the math adds up at the end.
Right.
You could also get a bullwhip if you want to be Indiana Jones. Do you want a hunting boomerang? How about throwing stars?
Really?
They're in here.
I bet they are.
You can also get nunchucks.
Because we went to the deepest, darkest Africa with nunchucks.
Yes. Something I would like you to do before the first game. I need you to decide where the family estates are.
Okay.
what part of the country, where you grew up, as in what part of the country. You know, if you're Welsh, if you grew up in parts of Wales, or if you grew up in north of London, or you grew up in London. That's all fine. I just need you to have that information. There is potential that we could go to England. You're the only non-American character at this point. Doesn't mean somebody won't die and choose another character that's not American. So we may end up in England. So you having that information ahead of time will allow me to, one, give you a little bit of information about the city that nobody else is going to know.
Right.
Also, when I go, well, does anybody know where we could get guns in London? You're going to know a lot more than anybody else.
Right.
Unless
I was thinking somewhere around Kent, but I'll narrow that down to...
Just make sure you have a solid idea before we sit down for that first game. That's
Do you
all.
want it in my background?
Yeah, I would love everything in your background.
Okay, but you said with a limit of how many pages again?
I believe 22 with pictures.
Okay.
Because that's what you threatened me with.
That's right. I forgot.
So, all right. So, you feel comfortable with understanding at least what you're doing? And I know you're going to probably move some points around for that bolo.
Absolutely.
That's fine. But you're good with everything else?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
yeah, I like that a lot.
So, that's it for us tonight on the Nerds Domain Podcast presents Masks of Gnarltep. You can always send us an email at nerdsdomain@gmail.com. Catch us on Twitter. I'm at Quiett, and Scott, you're at _BigDaddyT_. Is that correct? And you could also catch our general Twitter account at NerdsDomain. You can catch us on Facebook at Facebook/NerdsDomain. And then we want to thank Josh Shop for our music. If you enjoy our podcast, we encourage you to give us a review on iTunes and let us know what you think. We'll talk to you real soon.